Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me again this week. We're going to scale it back a little bit, and I'm just going to talk about methods of self-care that I use. I have never been diagnosed with a mental disorder, but I do try my best to be a proponent of mental health and acceptance of mental issues. It's because of listening to my favorite podcast, Another Round, that I sought out more self-care, and I consciously think about self-care for myself. In other cultures, finding self-care can be considered selfish, but I think it's important to always take care of yourself, because how can you take care of anything else if you don't take care of yourself? So if you will indulge me, I would like to share some of my favorite methods of self-care. And remember that these are just my own methods of self-care. What I do doesn't apply to you, but I would still like to share it because I think it's just good to continue to promote that idea of self-care and mental health. So my first one is yoga. And I know that yoga can come off as a very white girl LA thing to do, but I really enjoy it. It can be really hard to get into just because the way that we go about our everyday lives, your body usually doesn't bend that way, and it can take some getting used to. The first time that I tried yoga, I didn't do it for like probably 1 or 2 months until the second time, but I really learned to love it. It's so great and it's so relaxing. I think a lot of people forget that our mental and our physical selves are very much tied with each other, and when you take care of yourself physically and when you release stress and tension within your body physically, it also heals you mentally. I think that's really important to remember when it comes to mental health, is that mental health is also physical health. It's chemical imbalances. It's stuff that's going on within your physical self as well. If you can't find cheap in-person classes that you can go to, there are definitely so many YouTube channels that offer yoga lessons that you can do in the comfort of your own home. Number 2 is video games. I love video games so much, and the reason that I love video games is because it kind of takes me out of my world, you know? I try my best not to look at it as a form of escapism, because I don't think there's that much wrong with the world, but it does take me out of my own experience for a little bit, and it's very refreshing, kind of making my mind focus on just one thing, which is beating the game. I think you'll be surprised at how many people play video games as a form of self-care, but actually don't ever think about it being self-care. I definitely do it. I think it's very therapeutic. The third method that I have is actually getting a therapist. And I know that this can seem like a very privileged thing to say. I think if you look hard enough, there are other resources where you can find therapy or counseling at lower costs. Like there are people and groups that make opportunities for a lower income and people that just don't have as many resources to seek mental care, which is great. I personally work with a therapist that is on a sliding scale and is super affordable. I always feel so much better about my life every time I leave her office every week. It's great. It's totally worth the money. Don't give up looking for one. Don't try to convince yourself that you don't need one if the going gets tough. I think you should still try it out. Even if you don't think that you need it, still try it out. See if it does something for you, because you don't need to have a mental disorder to seek out therapy. Therapy is so useful to anybody, honestly. It's also important when you look for a therapist to shop around, because it can take a while for you to find that perfect fit, and it definitely took me a while. Even though it is a little bit more extra work on your part, I just think it'll be worth it. You can't really get that sort of unbiased perspective from anywhere else in your life. Friends will always be biased. Parents will always be biased. To have someone professionally listen to you and like kind of help you through working out yourself is really invaluable, and I personally think it's worth the money. See, number 4 is diaries. Along with having therapy, it's also nice to just unload to something that isn't going to respond to you or judge you back, which is, it can be in the form of writing, doing an audio diary, or sometimes making videos like this one. For me also, it's very creatively fulfilling to have like my own thing that I have total control over, my YouTube channel. And my YouTube channel has actually been a form of self-care that I have been very good about keeping up with. The last one I have is having a jar of accomplishments. So I got this idea from an article that said instead of having New Year's resolutions, we should have a jar of accomplishments. When you accomplish something, however small it may be, write it down on a Post-it note or some piece of paper and then put it in a jar. And whenever you're feeling down, it's actually really powerful and very healing to like just look through all of the great things that happened throughout your year so far. Here, let me actually show you mine right now. I'm not lying when I say that I have one. So this is my jar of accomplishments. It's in a rice cracker jar that I finished that I got from Mitsuwa. But yeah, I have yet to fill it up. It's a good thing that I picked a jar this big because I have found that I actually accomplish a lot often. Basically, you just write down compliments, and whenever you're feeling down, you can just like look through some of the accomplishments that you made and feel better about yourself. It actually really works. It's kind of cheesy, but I really enjoy it, and it's been really nice to have. I had lunch with a new person at work. I went to Kenny's birthday party even though I wasn't sure about going. That's a great accomplishment. I went to the gym today. Something as simple as that. I hope that we all start out making more of an effort to love ourselves a little bit more, because when we love ourselves, that draws people towards us too. It's a win-win situation. So thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate you. I love you, and I hope you show yourself that you love yourself. And I'll see you next week. Bye!